Welcome to Go Home Heat, a wrestling podcast. We have got for you a sports entertainment version of pro wrestling today. And I have Justin here. We are going to mow through Raw, NXT,
and Smackdown.
Great American Bash.
Yes.
And Smackdown as they start going into their House of Horrors show. Here we go. Drew talks about different steps that are possible, and Dolph clowns on LeBron James because LeBron James famously made a decision that upset a lot of people and raised a lot of money for the Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
Mm-hmm.
But Dolph, being a Clevelandite, probably did not look at it quite like that. And he says he's not going to give you his decision right now. He's not taking his talents to South Beach either. Dolph will not tell Drew. He'll find out at Extreme Rules with everybody else. Then he starts to compare resumes. Drew says, here we go again. And I'm not the only guy you screwed over. And we get the first surprise of the evening. A lot of leaks had come out of WWE lately. This was not a leak. However, this was a gentleman no longer under contract.
Yes.
Named Heath Slater that approaches of
the one-man band.
Of the famous faction.
Three-man band.
He was a one-man band and a three-man band.
Which is difficult to do. It's like being the Lone Rangers.
Yes. So Heath comes out and he says, tries to make Drew feel bad.
Well,
it
works. It should.
It works. He says,
if that was a true story, it would be... I don't believe that that's what happened. I bet that... I don't know. Maybe Drew is a tool, but I bet he was cool with him.
Well, also, Drew saying, hey, don't worry, I'll try to figure out a way to get a match with you is not Vince McMahon signing off on that.
No.
Drew can pitch an idea all he wants. It doesn't have to be received
Not at all.
well, and so I thought the opening segment was really good. You do wind up getting a fight. They get a wrestling match in street clothes. What did you think?
Why you gotta do Heath Slater like that?
Just
man?
takes one kick to the head.
Yeah, dude. He gets the jump and then immediately eats the Claymore. That's just...
Well, not only did that, but also after that, Dolph and Heath get into it, and then Dolph starts beating up Heath, and then Drew comes out and saves him. This is just me rewriting the script, right? Doesn't the character get more depth if Drew and Heath don't make up at the end?
Mm-hmm.
If Drew kicks him, he feels bad about it, he leaves, and Heath leaves disappointed. Why do we have to have the babyface come out and save Heath?
Who he just embarrassed.
Totally embarrassed. You know what I mean? And
Heath be like, well, yeah, I guess you're great friends now.
Right. I'm going to ignore the fact that you screwed me at my lowest moment?
Yeah.
No. I just...
Yeah, buddy, thanks you got me on TV, so you kicked me in the face. Great.
I enjoyed all of it until the Claymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then from Claymore to commercial, I was like, well, that kind of defeated the whole purpose of the first 12 minutes I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Why not let Heath have a 5-minute match?
Why not, dude? I'm not saying he has to win. I'm just saying let the guy out there and wrestle a few minutes. And
the 2.5 minutes that you took having Dolph run out there yelling at him and beating him up, and then Drew coming out there, that could have all been just match.
Mm-hmm.
Claymore end, and Drew stand up and say, hey man, I'm sorry about the way things went down, and walks off. It totally makes more sense.
Yes.
And it doesn't defeat the purpose of what we had. And
poorly written.
Now Drew could be carried. Now Drew doesn't have to carry the weight of what he's done to somebody else into the mind game.
Yes.
Isn't following into the match because he's gotten to rectify all of that before the match. You could have had Heath in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, how great would that have been?
Yeah.
Heavyweight title match. You do the whole show. Nobody's Heath hitting there. For the heavyweight title match, Heath's on commentary.
Yeah. And Jinder Mahal.
Jinder's probably going to jump him anyway when it's all over. Okay. Then we get Bayley and Sasha. They do a little interview. Then they're going to go to the ring. Asuka says that they can't handle her. Oh, That's what happened. I forgot. All this runs together at some point when you get to Saturday. The girl winds up asking, the reporter asks Oscar, how are you going to handle them alone? And she alludes to...
What makes you think I'm alone?
Right.
Somebody with her.
Coming back, we have Sasha and Bayley in the ring, and they kind of do a retread of the same promo they've been doing on Monday nights, which is fine. It's good stuff. It's just I'm not going to go through all that again. Then the internet has, this is the second surprise we have on the show. The internet has Kairi Sane going back to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's over. She's done. She's never going to work there again. And maybe it is over and done, but she did work tonight because Kairi Sane shows up to be there with Asuka. And that turns into a Sasha versus Kairi match. Now, there are rumors that Sasha has wanted to work with Kairi.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can see why.
Dude, when they got in the ring, it was magical. They are... First of all, Sasha never gets to wrestle anybody smaller than her.
Yes.
So she got to utilize aspects of her game that aren't always there. Mm-hmm. Kairi's fantastic. And so it wound up being just a really good matchup.
I didn't even mind the disqualification ending at all. I thought it was fine. The slick move that Kairi put on her, where she slides between her legs, hooks her legs, comes back up, ends up getting her in a modified like Boston Crab with like the legs crossed.
And Bayley winds up having to save her.
Yeah.
But like you said, all the slick submission stuff they did back and forth was just wonderful. And Kairi, okay, then the brawl ensues, of course, and then Kairi hits an insane elbow onto the floor to end the brawl. And I just thought that was just...
It was tight.
So well done. Yeah, the KO show is next with Seth, and I don't know, like we just got through with the program, and they talk about that here, how you're connected if you've wrestled one another at WrestleMania. For whatever reason, you're connected for life, right? And then Kevin Owens gives Seth a KO Mania shirt to commemorate his victory over Seth, and Seth says, you were on the shelf when we were done with each other, so who really won the fight, that kind of thing. These two guys have such disdain for each other.
Oh, they just sell it so well.
And they're more joined at the hip than they have bloody battles in Ring of Honor together. They have, when Triple H turns on Seth, it's toward Kevin Owens. They, they're polar opposites. One is land, one is water. You know what I mean? It's like, and so when they get together,
one is a dwarf, one is an elf.
Yeah, when they get together, they're so perfect to hate each other. It's like Frazier and Ali or whatever.
Exactly.
It's beautiful. Okay, so now, in spite of the animosity, Seth decides to invite Kevin Owens to join him and fight for the greater good. Looking out for KO's future.
Yeah, in the business.
Yes, absolutely. Rey Mysterio shows up, and of course, you could never think that this guy would join you, Seth. Okay, funny, because another thing, just the way Seth Rollins says Kevin is so...
dripping with contempt.
Oh my God! It's Kevin. And my name is Kevin, so I can feel it when my mom yells Kevin at me. You know what I mean? Or when somebody, you know what I mean? When you're in trouble with a teacher, it has that. Oh my God! And so, and of course, Kevin says, Seth points out that Ray doesn't have a partner, and if you don't have a partner, you're going to fight us 2-on-1, or are you going to allow your son to get beat up too? What kind of dad are you? Kevin Owens winds up saying, well, if you'll have me, I'm always... And so we're going to have a match, but that's not good enough because the winner of this is going to pick the stip. And Seth is totally cool with that because he's obviously going to win and pick some kind of wonderful stip that is to his advantage. And then we wind up with the brawl turned into match, which is obligatory, I guess, at this point on the shows. And we get, I don't know about you, but Ray's always quick.
Yeah.
He looked...
Buddy Murphy makes him look great, doesn't he?
He does. And Ray looked fast. It's almost like I feel like Ray might be into this a little bit.
Oh, yeah. He's having a great time.
Yeah. And it's an interesting sidebar to all of this. Now, but I'll get to that in a second. Now,
Seth tries several times to get disqualified in this, or get the other team disqualified. He gets in Dominic's face.
He tries to get Dominic.
And there's
to
a
hit
section
him
later
to
we're
get
going to
DQ'd.
get to when, you know.
Yeah. Now, well, we'll go jump there. Then he winds up trying to get Alistair to.
Well,
to
he
ruin
grabbed Ray and threatened to murder him in front. I mean, grabbed Dominic and threatened to murder him in front of Ray. I'll end him right. What are you going to do? Break his neck, Seth? Is that what you going to do that right here on national television? I doubt it.
Well, if it's in a wrestling ring, it's okay.
Oh yeah,
They killed Vince McMahon one time.
I saw that in a bomb with a bomb.
Sidebar: Donald Trump called to find out if that was real when it happened.
Oh man, kayfabe is alive and well. Dude, my condolences, Vince, to your family.
Okay, go ahead though. And so Alistair comes up from behind, and Seth says, "Hit me," because he wants to get DQ'd, but instead Buddy loses.
Yeah, because while Seth was sitting there paying attention to Alistair, Dominic took the opportunity to gouge Buddy's eyes.
Right, which means he's been paying attention to the show, because
Yes.
that seems to be the go-to lately
It's
in
the
these
go-to
matches.
move. And
Yep.
then that set him up for the loss. And so now Ray gets to pick the dumbest stip I've ever heard since the...
The second ever.
There's another one?
I just read that there was a second ever, and I cannot imagine what the first was.
I
But
don't-
it's an eye for an eye match.
Yeah.
So the loser has to have their eyeball taken out of their head.
I thought the Inferno match was a better idea than this. And that was a match where you set somebody on fire.
Can I save the match for you, though? Because after they take Seth's eye, which is what's happening, they're going to take Seth's eye, and he's going to go away for a little while, and he's coming back with a patch, and he will be full-on Bond heel.
Right?
Right?
I have no problem with that eye patch. I just think it's dumb because there's no way you're going to gouge another dude's eye out in a wrestling match, man.
I think they're giving him spoons.
I mean, cut your heart out with a spoon. Alan, R.I.P. Alan Rickman.
Oh man. Okay, but yes, it's a lot, and I have to assume that we're going to do some form of a
It's like
cinematic.
WWE sword fight. We're gonna, first one to behead his opponents wins.
yes, absolutely.
AJ Styles shows up next week after being beheaded
Or
buried alive.
Correct. All right, but Meltzer said, somebody asked Meltzer yesterday that what pro wrestler is most influential over the current generation of wrestlers, and he said, well, when you think about it, Rey Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
And at first that sounds kind of crazy, but if you look at it on multiple levels, it isn't. Because one, the New Bucks aren't main eventing TV shows if Rey Mysterio doesn't make the climb from cruiserweight to heavyweight champion of the world.
I agree.
Ray also, I think his popularity as an international star helped to open up those doors from Mexico and Japan.
Mm-hmm.
That to some degree is, now anytime, like, it doesn't matter who the guy is. If he walks in and they say, hey, he's from Mexico, I automatically assume he's good.
Yep.
Regardless of whether or not he is. I'll find out if he's bad, I'll find out in a month. You know what I mean? But I always assume he's really good because they usually are, but that's a stigma that grows from Ray.
Yeah.
And I do think too that if you want to say heavyweight champions and having an Adam Cole as your heavyweight champion, even though he's not as small as he's portrayed as being, or even a Mox who's not a monster-sized person, I think that door. I said that last. I think that that door was cracked a little bit with Macho, as really large men became world champions.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought, well, if Hogan's the guy, then the next guy's going to have to be bigger than Hogan. And Warrior did that, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Macho sliding in there he's not quite huge.
Yes.
He comes from the top ropes. He does things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Utilizes surroundings to make him competitive.
Yes.
Then Brett is a great wrestler, but he's also not
huge.
The stature of a Hogan.
No.
And then you wind up with a Shawn who, without Brett, Shawn can't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then Shawn is the smaller Adam Cole style champion and utilizing surroundings and all that. And that kind of cracks the door a little bit more. And I think Eddie Guerrero really does that. And I think when Eddie passes, this groundswell for Ray happens, and it allows for the diminutive wrestler to become the guy in the biggest company in the world at that moment in time, wrestling company. And I think that there's a lot of factors in there. I think Batista being the foil in that was a big deal. I think he did a really good... Batista wasn't ever Lou Thez.
Yeah.
But he did that. He played that role. Especially... You could say that as a babyface, Batista was lacking on the mic. But as a whining, complaining, I'm much bigger than you. What is he? He's much bigger than everybody. What is he complaining about, guy?
Yeah.
He was great in that role.
He was.
And when he decided that Ray was getting too much attention and when he shot Ray into a stratosphere that, few guys get to. And Batista managed to really help Ray in that respect. And so in a lot of ways, Meltzer was spot on there. And the fact that he hates Shawn Michaels kind of simplified the argument for him.
Yes, it boils it down.
Yes, it's between that guy and a guy I don't like, so it's that guy. But Shawn did not affect the fact that, I don't know, you could say the Rock and Roll Express and the Rockers might have been an opening of the door to a group of guys like the Young Bucks, even though they never quite ascended to top. So you can basically boil it all down to Sting being what matters in pro wrestling.
Yeah, I ain't gonna give you that.
Okay, so the stip is we're gonna lose an eye for sure. Somebody's losing an eye, and everybody's gonna watch because by golly, you don't see that a lot on live TV.
No.
Not like you used to.
I'm gonna fantasy book this match. What really needs to happen is not Dominic go heel and not Alistair go heel. Ray needs to go heel and turn on Dominic.
And rip his eye out.
Rip his eye out and pull off a shirt and another shirt that says, "I'm not your pappy."
and Vicky just be outside. Excuse me?
Excuse me?
Oh, my God.
Yes.
So, wait, was it Stan Hansen? Which was Vader and Stan Hansen in Japan? He knocks one of them knocks the other one's eye out of his head and he puts it back in and they keep wrestling?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
It sounds like a Vader match.
Yeah. And Hansen. Okay. Charlie Caruso is talking to MVP and Bobby Lashley. And they're balling. They're disrespected. They're in the hurting business. I love when he intros the term hurting business. Hadn't heard that in a while. It's a good one. It's a good one, right? And they're headed to talk in style in the ring. Lashley and MVP do the MVP promo thing. Apollo's not invited. And they're showcasing the new title belt, which Apollo is not there to receive. And MVP says, "This will be my belt." And the belt is a lot. It looks almost not real.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
But anyway, they unveil this new United States Championship belt, and then Bobby says, "Well, it's my world. I decide who wears belts, so you can just put it on, and you are the new U.S. champion." And I'm not sure that that's how it works.
Well, I love how you see ideas that flow through wrestling. You'll see it one place, and you'll see the same idea show up other places because we got Moose walking around with the old TNA belt still, don't we? Mm-hmm. Because I don't watch Impact, but
correct.
But you've told me about it. I've seen it a couple times. You got this week we had the other show, the AEW show. Taz brings out the FTW belt, and you got MVP taking a belt that's not his. Mm-hmm. Mr. Brody Lee took Mox's belt before they fought, didn't he? Mm-hmm. So
just walked around with it like it was his. Right.
And you hadn't seen that in years, and now everybody's doing it.
Yeah, Moose did it, and everybody got on board real quick. Moose has been doing it for a month.
Everybody else is kind of...
And everybody's like, "Oh, that's a good idea. We'll do that too." So then we wind up getting a match as Ricochet and Cedric come out to defend the absent Apollo's honor, and MVP and Lashley wind up winning in the match. That was fine. Whatever. We're moving on. Garza, Andrade, Zelina are dysfunctional Ric Flair says, don't worry about the disappointments last week. We need to stay on Randy's good side or we're all in trouble, including me. Randy walks up and threatens all of them.
Yes.
Randy was great tonight.
Dude, he was so good. Everything he did was great.
He's just starting tonight, but he's good. Okay, Kairi Sane and Asuka are interviewed by Charlie, and Asuka intends to win tonight and challenge for tag titles next month. Kairi plays her recorder. Perfect.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Big Show and Viking Raiders versus Randy, Andrade, and Angel Garza.
A lot of great storytelling in this match.
It was very good. They weren't on the same page. Garza and Andrade, again, were not on the same page. And Randy gets them on the same page by threatening to kill Garza.
Which is a great motivational technique that has been used by great leaders throughout history.
It had the feeling, it really did have the feeling of a 1978 high school wrestling football.
Yes.
What, you know what I mean? Like the stereotypical, I don't care about anything but winning coach or college coach or Woody Hayes punching the opposing player in the throat, you know, that kind of thing. And it had, I grew up in the business, you grew up in the business, you have a special place in my heart, but don't think I won't put you in the dirt.
Yes.
It was so
well And you called it. I like this legacy.
Yeah.
I think if they do this and hook Randy up with them a little more permanently, I think that could be cool.
Right, because they are a legacy. And look, man, I like the other legacy too, but these cats can wrestle.
Yeah.
You know, and he would be great in showing them their way. And they pull it out because Randy winds up getting a kind of a slide through RKO in the midst of chaos, which these six-man things should be. And they pull it out. And like you said, this I can't get my appetite wet over Big Show versus anybody.
No.
But thinking that something else might be out there past this does excite me a little bit. And Randy Orton with some backup really makes him formidable.
Yeah.
You know, he's already
been the lone dangerous dude on the roster for months.
Right. Iconics talk to Ruby, and Ruby calls them dumbasses. I like that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
MVP sliding in to try to recruit Cedric. Talks about how Ricochet has been pushed harder than Cedric, and Ricochet has his own. Yeah, you guys are equals. I get it. Why don't you have your own 365 special? When he, okay, I guess you guys are equals. You're right. It's all good.
Dude,
what did he say? He said, "You're on the sidelines." He said, "It's cool if you want to be a sidekick."
Oh, nice.
The only thing worse could have been if he'd called him Robin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was well done, and we're in the hurting business. You're in the catering business. If you keep going like this, you'll be over there in catering eating. Bon appetit.
Oh, dude.
Never heard that line. Perfect.
Yeah.
MVP. Just killing it every week. Flair's running his mouth about the win, and they're all happy. And Randy's like, dude, it's just a win. It's nothing. Win's a win. Then the 24/7 champ comes through, and Truth bumps into him and assumes that Ric Flair may be Akira Tozawa in disguise.
Which is okay, because Akira Tozawa is apparently a ninja, and ninjas are capable of
shape-shifting. I don't know if that's how that works, R-Truth, but so then Akira, he flees, and Akira winds up showing up, and Randy sends him in the wrong direction.
Which I thought was funny.
Right.
Randy even finds Truth hilarious.
Right, and it's for sure that if Randy Orton is going to have a faction, R-Truth is going to be in there somewhere.
Yes.
Because comedic relief is what Randy Orton does.
He needs it.
Yes. Ruby Riott versus Billie Kay. I was pleasantly surprised at how good this match was. I was not, I won't say I'm disappointed that Billie Kay won, because that's not the right word to use. But I'm assuming Ruby is losing to get back with Liv, which doesn't exactly make sense because we made a big deal out of them splitting up for some reason like 2 months ago or 4 months ago.
Are you implying that WWE would like to do plot consistency?
I don't know if they would like it.
Whatever happened with that hacker? Whatever happened with that? Oh, wait. They just abandoned it.
You know what may have happened with the hacker?
What?
The hacker may be like, yeah, well, I've seen the pandemic numbers in Orlando. Mm-hmm. So Hacker Man ain't coming out till Pandemic Man gets put on the shelf.
The ultimate champion.
Ali seems like he's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah.
So he may be staying away for a little bit. Him and Roman may be neighbors.
Yeah. In their bubbles.
In the I'm not dealing with that mess down there. You know. But anyway, and I assume a lot of these things that are happening, especially. Well, we'll get to that on SmackDown at some point. But Ruby's a really good wrestler, but Billie Kay does need to win some solo matches because I want that Iconics to be formidable, and she feels like the weak link.
Yeah.
Because Peyton is a really good wrestler.
Yes.
She feels like the weak link because she is.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, there's a reason for that.
Right. Yeah, just because it's true doesn't mean it's not true. Mm-hmm. Sasha and Bayley promo, champ versus champ match. Nikki is on commentary. Sasha's outside the ring. We have basically all of the ingredients of the women's division in the pay-per-view somewhere around right here. These two are great. Their champion, dude. It's Bayley and Asuka. They're just two incredible wrestlers.
Destroy the whole. I mean, it's the best match. Mm-hmm. And Nikki does a good job of, you know. Mm-hmm.
Nikki winds up distracting
Bayley at the exact wrong moment.
Mm-hmm. Asuka winds up winning on the Asuka lock, and we have had ourselves a fine episode.
Very good.
Of Raw. Moving on to NXT, Candice LeRae versus Mia Yim in a street fight. They fought all over the place. They had a brutal spot at the end where they do a neck breaker onto chairs, which seemed a little crazy. I enjoyed it. What did you think about the first match?
I thought it was really good. It's the best match those two have had so far. I still think Candice LeRae is way better than Mia Yim. And
right. The right person wins.
Yeah.
Right. Now, how do I put this? 20 minutes. First match, not a women's championship match. Mm-hmm. They got the first 20 minutes of the show.
It's a lot.
You know what though? I thought that was good. I thought that the women on NXT get pretty much equal billing.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? And it's the only wrestling show in the world that's like that.
Yes.
You know, now the SmackDown and Raw, they get, you could say they kind of get equal billing, but it's only about 4 of them.
Yeah. I got your point, but I would just say the match itself drug at times because, again, I think these matches in general drag a lot because there's too much time of...
When somebody gets hit with a aluminum
pan and falls over and acts like they're dead, and then you go spend 20 minutes setting up a table, and then you spend 5 minutes pulling chairs out from under the ring between each move that you make. It just...
Dude, I wish you could do a stip that made sense where you said, go set the ring up any way you want to start with.
Yes, fine with that.
You know?
Doesn't have to start this way. Have the weapon. I always liked, like Monsters Ball and stuff like that. I had the weapons out there.
Yeah.
Save me. We can get the stuff.
Go ahead and put the tables out. Go ahead and
yes,
all that stuff. Yeah, right. I get it. Because you wind up of a 20-minute match, 7 of it is setting things up.
Yes.
I did notice too when they were going to do the spot onto the chairs, Mia stopped and looked and saw all the chairs were the wrong way up. And she quickly flipped them over so that she wouldn't risk getting cut when she got thrown onto them. Smart girl. She's been in this match before. Okay, Tony Nese versus Bronson Reed. I did not know they had a beef, but evidently they did.
They hate each other, apparently.
I appreciated that they had a beef, though, because it's a pretty good match. Bronson goes over. He was impressive. Nese is great, and because they still do 205 Live, so Nese still has a place where he can do that, so bringing him up to put over talent is okay with me.
Yeah.
And Bronson Reed is an interesting prospect.
I think he's got a lot of upside if you play him right.
Right. He can be something. He can be top mid-card at least.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's a lot to deal with. Big boy. Okay. Robert Strong brand. Alea approached Shotzi Blackheart. They're ready to recruit her. Shotzi's having none of it. Stone throws his coffee over his shoulder in disbelief onto Killian Dane, who roughs him up a little, only to have Shotzi run him over with a tank.
Yes.
Loved it.
A tiny tank.
I wasn't going to say that. Just in case somebody listens that doesn't watch wrestling, I wanted them to hear runs him over with a tank so that they would be inclined to watch next week.
Yes. And Robert Stone would be dead.
It was great, though.
Yeah, it was funny.
He's hilarious. He's great. Okay, Gargano versus Swerve Scott. Hey, thank you very much. I didn't think about putting those two in the ring together. But
it turned out well, didn't it?
Boy, oh boy. How did I not think about putting those two in the ring together?
Yes.
Swerve Scott's amazing. And Gargano is better than Swerve Scott at this point in his career, for sure. I mean, Gargano is able to tell stories in a way, to me, in the ring.
It's kind of unique. Yeah.
It's unique, and to me, it's better than the way just about anybody does it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He doesn't waste time between moves. Everything he does is impactful. He's just, if he was, and I hate to say it because we just talked about Rey Mysterio being important, but if he was 6'2", you wouldn't be able to not have him have the belts.
Yeah.
Because he's so smart.
Yeah.
And his moveset's wonderful. It's just he can get up ahead of steam, run and jump and hit a guy in the chin with a forearm, and it looks better than when most other people do it, but it doesn't have the impact just because
he's smaller.
Yeah.
But a running forearm hurts anybody.
Oh, agreed. He's great. But and he goes over here, and I don't think Swerve lost anything losing to Gargano.
No. He does need to get some wins, though.
He does at some point. Okay. Io Shirai and Tegan Knox wind up having... This was... Whoever made the decision that we're going to shoot Io Shirai underwater and have her speak in her native tongue and have...
Her Japanese is intimidating.
Nice, slow, calm.
Her inflection is perfect.
They had the subtitles underneath, so I'm reading as we go along, and it felt intimidating.
Yes, it did.
It was so very well done. And just, dude, whoever decides these things for them does a great job.
They do such a good job. The video package stuff is just tight.
Can't wait. Legado del Fantasma versus Breezango and Drake. And Breezango coming out as the Conquistadors was the greatest thing ever.
Inspired.
They have a great match. I was worried about Fandango blowing his knee out when he did that flip because he's always hurt. And, dude, Fandango, every time he wrestles, I think, my God, he has gotten good at wrestling.
Yeah, I did. Because I remember when he first came out there, and I was not a fan because he couldn't wrestle, dude.
Right? And now
he is. You can tell he's been hanging out and really
with Tyler.
working his game.
He's a big version of Tyler.
Yes.
But a little bit, I think he's naturally a little more athletic than he just didn't know it yet because he hadn't asked his body to do flips and things.
Yes.
And now that he has asked his body to do those things, he can. And it probably was as big a surprise as him as anybody when he was 25 and did a flip.
I think he's amazing because a lot of people come in there great. Not a lot of people become great once they're there. And I think he's evolved and really, worked.
I would love to see him get a singles run.
Yeah. I think he's going to have to go to another company to do it. I don't think the WWE's... They've gotten so invested in his comedy act.
Well, and two, how do you break up something that's as entertaining as
Breezango? Yeah. It's hard to do.
And if you do, like you said, how do you take him? It's like Cody. When Cody's going, hey, man, I really think I can be more in this business. And Hunter's going, yeah, but everybody kind of loves what you're doing.
Yeah.
Neither one of them's lying.
No. It's just different viewpoints on the same thing.
And Drew couldn't get outside of the stigma around him until he left and came back.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He had to recreate himself somewhere else because this audience isn't going to allow you to change gradually. You know what I mean? Every now and then they'll let somebody be a heel. Like, I guess you could do it with Fandango. He could turn and slap a boy with a chair, Tyler Breeze with a chair. Now, they lose, and again... The match itself, one thing that made it great too was Drake and Escobar don't touch
until the very end.
Yeah, and then Escobar shatters his dreams with the what is that pile driver thing he does?
Michinoku driver he does through the
Yeah, they got a neat name for it, but
I can't remember.
Yeah, but it's nice.
Yeah, Phantom driver.
Right. And he put him away with that, and it worked well. and he takes the pin here, and we can have a Breezango versus the other two guys tag match if we want it, and it'll be great. I liked those kids, Escobar and Jacqueline and Mendoza.
Yeah, Joaquin Wilde and Mendoza, Raul Mendoza.
Thank you very much. I like those kids.
They're good.
It was so good. And Joaquin Wilde is so much cooler without that stupid bicycle helmet on.
Oh, it's so much better, isn't it?
Oh, my God. He came out there looking like an insect for so long for no reason. No good reason at all.
It's like he's riding a tiny tank to the ring.
Moving into Santana Garrett versus Mercedes Martinez. Mercedes Martinez is a wrestler whom they have a lot invested in, evidently. And probably for good reason. They usually are right on these things. She had a good little promo package to lead her into her comeback. And then she beat up Santana Garrett, who's a very good worker. I don't know what to think about a Fisherman Buster, but first of all, I know this much. Rename it.
Mm-hmm.
Fisherman Buster sounds like a fish and chips basket.
It sounds like a really terrible supervillain who only attacks fishermen.
Correct. Aquaman.
Third tier Aquaman villain.
Yes.
Fisherman Buster.
What are we going to do today? You know, Black Manta's busy.
Yes.
Let's go with Fisherman Buster. Okay. All right, moving on to our Damian Priest winds up doing a little promo, and he does actually sound like Vin Diesel.
Yes. I think Damian Priest, if you have to do characters, it's like if Vin Diesel
had hair
and Kurgan from Highlander had a baby, it would be
nice. I get it.
He even uses the line that Kurgan used in Highlander. I'd rather burn out than fade away.
Oh yeah. You're right. Well done.
And they
well
both
done.
had the raspy voice.
Yes. And okay. All right. Moving along.
Obscure reference
now,
of the day.
Throughout the show, we had Mark Henry predict Keith Lee, which they have a similar body type. Makes sense.
Yes.
Mick Foley, I can't remember. He
predicts Adam Cole.
And then he held up a Keith Lee
hand. Yeah.
Or was that Sean that held up? Anyway,
Sean held up the Keith Lee thing.
Right, and then Sean picks Adam, which Sean is an Adam Cole mark, but then also holds up the Keith Lee thing because Sean has trouble committing to anything besides his wife, evidently.
Ha ha!
Because he loves that girl.
Yeah, he does.
She took a punch for him years ago, Chris Jericho.
Yes.
Main event of the evening winds up coming up where Lee versus Cole. Keith Lee, who has been a big deal in this company, and we knew he was the future, and he gets to be anointed here in what I thought was a fantastic match.
Oh man, it was a great match.
Keith is so immense that like the little things, like when he grabs a hold of Adam Cole's hand and just keeps turning it around like he's the Incredible Hulk, breaking his wrist, and then he kind of lifts. That move, a lot of wrestlers do that kind of thing. It never looks like it hurts.
It doesn't look dangerous. But when you see Keith Lee do it, it looks like, God, I do not want that to ever happen to me.
Like you said earlier, off air, he hit that second rope moonsault.
Second rope moonsault. Yeah, from the second turnbuckle there. That was ridiculous.
It looked like it was going to kill him.
Yeah. Forget that, go watch Brock Lesnar almost kill himself trying to hit it off the top rope, which is a lot easier. You got a lot more space.
Yeah.
And I think Keith Lee's his height or taller. Mm-hmm. And so to rotate his body
is way thicker.
Wow, that was just sick, dude.
And even the moves you do to Keith Lee look like they hurt. Like when Adam Cole does the backbreaker, the backstabber on him, and Adam Cole rolled away like, man, that hurts so bad on my knees and shins to pull him down on me like that. First of all, it's dumb. Yeah. If you're wrestling, I got to do. But Adam did his best to get him into deep waters.
And he did a great job of playing he kicked him in the knee. He kept doing the super kick to the knee, to set stuff up. He got it, they let Keith fly through the plexiglass, a la your boy Bobby Lashley back in the day, breaking the cell wall down, facing Umaga.
Right. Now, if I was going to nitpick, I would say, it was funny when I was watching the match, I was like, well, 4 or 5 kicks to the head, that's a little much.
It was a little much.
But you know what I also thought too? if we didn't get that so much, this would have been the right time for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Keith is so massive, and no, don't get me wrong, nobody could kick out of 5 kicks to the head, but it would have been okay. But we get that so much nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I just want them to pull away from that. Somewhat.
Yes, for a little while.
And he could have kicked out of every finisher without kicking out of every finisher and 4 kicks to the head.
4 kicks to the head to set it up.
Yeah. Now he hit the Panama City Sunrise once. Went for it a second time, and that turned into a power bomb on him, which Keith Lee counters with a power bomb.
Speaking of athletic, again, Keith Lee taking the Panama Sunrise. Because that ain't Adam Cole
doing... It was all Keith Lee.
Adam Cole ain't doing nothing but along for the ride.
Keith Lee did a standing flip with someone on his back.
Onto his shoulders, basically. Yeah. What a monster, dude. What a monster.
So wonderful. Congratulations, Keith Lee, is your new...
You deserve it.
North American and NXT champion on
And then, wait.
You tell him.
Because we got the cutback where we see Scarlett.
In the press booth.
And Cross in the press booth. Mm-hmm. Enjoying the show, obviously. Mm-hmm. And as we go to, you see him laughing in this tight suit, man.
He looked good. She looked good.
They look good.
They're a fantastic couple.
Yes.
And intimidating.
Yes. And I am excited for the Keith Lee Karrion Kross program.
Woo!
What run they're going about. Should he take out Adam Cole first? Should he come out?
I think so.
Because
that's who he went after first.
Yeah.
So he should. I think he should absolutely take out Adam Cole, because that also gives you a redemption story for Adam.
Yes.
He's lost his last 2 rivalries after having not lost any rivalry in over a year. So then you can rebuild Adam that way. Or Adam loses and moves on to the other roster. Mm-hmm. You can do that either way. Both times it works very, very well, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Smackdown winds up coming up next. Awesome American Bash.
Dude, it was.
Yeah, okay. Miz TV with Morrison and Jeff Hardy is the guest. And I don't know. We'll just surmise this real quickly. It winds up being where Jeff, the addict who is currently sober, agreeing to a bar fight with Sheamus to put, as John said, you can deal with your actual enemy and your metaphoric enemy at one time. I don't know that I love this. I didn't hate it. Jeff saying, if I can beat Sheamus,
I can beat addiction. It's not how it works.
It did, as an adult, as a person like you who actually has a better knowledge of these things than I do, and me having gone through it.
I was about to say, I doubt that I have a better knowledge of it, but I have some knowledge.
Just sidebar, man. It always worries me when people assume I'm going to get sober and my life will get better.
That's no promise for that.
It doesn't. Could it?
Could, yes, very much could.
Absolutely. Is there a better chance of you reacting to every aspect of your life sober than you will as a person who has at some point realized alcohol, drugs, pills, whatever is between you and rational thought? Mm-hmm. Yes. Your chances are great at that. You can sober up and lose your job the next day.
Yeah.
The coincidences happen. Things happen.
Hey, man, I have to work with people all the time like that and have to explain to them, because they'll get sober and they'll start talking to their family, and their family still treats them like crap and everything like that. And it's like, dude, I hate to tell you, this is a journey for you.
Right.
It ain't a journey for anybody else, and no guarantee anybody else is going to recognize it or care. Right.
Well, that was the thing with... Screw it. We'll talk about it. That was the thing with me, right? Is I always tell people when they go, "What did you do to get sober?" And I go, "Well, I just quit cold turkey."
Yeah.
And I got lucky because everything went right for me. Mm-hmm. When I quit, I got a promotion right on the heels of it. Within a year and a half, I fell in love with. Everything went right for me, right?
And success breeds success.
Right.
The more wins you get, the more you feel like a winner. And you need that in those moments.
Right. But also, I had looked at my mom and dad and the people that were immediately around me were supportive, although there were you deal with things. Nobody ever wants you to go back to being a drunk,
Mm-hmm.
but if you go out and your buddy quits going out, there will be a little bit of, why can't you go hang with us? Type thing,
there's
right?
a certain thing too in families lots of times. I'm not saying some families are more dysfunctional than others, where the black sheep serves a purpose. The black sheep serves the purpose of at least none of us are that one.
Right. See,
And
I was
if you try to move out of that spot, somebody else is either got to move into that spot, or everybody's got to take an inventory of themselves, and they're invested even if they don't say verbally, and they don't even think it. They're invested in keeping you in a family systems, and it's weird stuff. It's not purposeful a lot of the time.
That's where the funny thing was. I've always said, with me, my issues. This is weird that we're with me. My issues were in spite of the way I was raised, not because.
Yes.
And the people around me that gave me every advantage did it again when I was 30.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
That gave you a huge advantage in your recovery because you were working with good starter examples.
Right.
You didn't have to come, from parents and stuff who were addicts and stuff like that.
But one thing I gloss over too, though, and I haven't thought about it till just now, is I also rode my bike. I went from being 29 to being 30, and really 13 because I have to ride my bike to work.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And the way you beat yourself up when you don't have transportation and you can't live in a home you own because it's too far away from work and all. So there were those things, but because so much of everything else had happened positively for me, I was lucky.
You got to balance it. Yes.
Correct. That doesn't happen. So when I'm watching a show and this guy says, if I can beat this, then I can do that. That worries me a little bit because that's not the way it works.
I don't think Jeff believes that. I hope Jeff doesn't believe that.
Jeff doesn't believe that.
I don't even like putting it on the show because it's no offense to Sheamus, Jeff Hardy's that fight's a lot harder that Jeff's really fighting.
And it's got nothing to do with Sheamus.
It's got nothing to do with wrestling. Mm-hmm. It's got everything to do with caring for yourself, learning to, view yourself in a certain light. No matter what changes out here,
right?
An internal core of strength that has nothing to do with...
And the pressure he's heaping on himself, announcing that he's going to beat this and he's going to be the big...
I didn't like that part. I didn't like that part.
Because that, that's a lot of pressure.
It is.
I'm going to be a light for all of you to follow. And I hope he is.
If you ever listen to Steven Regal talk about his struggles, I really like the way he talks about it.
Yeah.
He's always like, I don't deserve... I got sober. I don't deserve any praise for that. I shouldn't have been screwing up in the first place. That was for me. Right. And he has very personal... relationship with
and that's Steven too.
Yeah,
that's the man's man.
Yeah, he doesn't expect anybody else. It was for me. I did this for my reasons.
Correct. Correct. And it doesn't mean that you need to be sober. It just means I needed to be. Okay. Well, anyway, that was a lot. But they wind up with which one of you two guys are going to get hit in the face because you're not going to make fun of me out here, and it winds up being The Miz, and The Miz loses a competitive match. Jeff is so good. We were talking about earlier how he allows things to breathe without it being boring.
Yeah.
And he's such a good wrestler. And The Miz's style is opposite, but the same in that aspect. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of time between movements, but the movements matter. Mm-hmm. Everything, he's good at everything. Okay, so we get a good little match. Then we get Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Bliss and Cross. Again, wow. Good match.
Alexa Bliss keeps him getting... She's improved so much. Again, kind of like Fandango. Improved so much from when they walked through this... up to the big show.
Absolutely. And in spite of the outcome, where Bayley gets a roll-up on Nikki, this was a tour de force performance by Nikki. Mm-hmm. She got to showcase... As you say, she's Wolverine. She's the smaller...
Tasmanian Devil.
Always on it. She fought... there were times when Alexa was outside of the ring laying down. She fought both of them.
Yeah.
She comes away looking like things don't have to be wonky for her to beat
anybody,
Bayley or whoever she needs to beat. So, again, we've heightened what's going to happen at the pay-per-view.
Yes.
And then we get a replay of Braun versus Bray. I won't go through that. We know who won. It was fine. I
knew
get
it was a setup match, so it was hard for me to really get invested in it.
But I also get it that we have limited access to people right now.
I'm fine
so
with that.
Run it and we'll move on.
Yeah.
And then we have Karaoke Showdown is next. And we get Lacey Evans singing the Jeff Jarrett song. Naomi singing.
I agree with you that she picked the right song for her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, her voice is a little bit deeper than Jeff Jarrett's.
Or Road Dogg's, one of the two.
Well, Road Dogg he actually has a little a very natural twang to his singing.
Yes.
So that was pretty good. Okay, anyway, it's a good little thing. I don't know if good little thing's the right term. Dana Brooks sings Honky Tonk Man terribly. Tamina gets cut off pretty early on. Jey Uso winds up being a good host, and I like them allowing him to showcase the fact that he's fun. Mm-hmm. Naomi gives the performance of Dusty Rhodes, and she does fine. A little bit scared, it seems like. I would assume that Naomi was really good in rehearsals on
that. Well, and also the place they're singing is not good for singing. They're singing in the middle of a ring. There's no reverb. They didn't have them. If they really wanted them to sound good, they should have used some mic effects and stuff like that. Not a lot, but enough to give them some reverb in their voice and stuff, because they're singing there's no acoustics where they're singing.
Also, I would doubt, they don't have inner earpieces.
No, you
or
can't.
Anything
it's
like
hard
that.
to sing like that.
Yeah, that's tough. But so that turns into Naomi winning this karaoke battle, which turns into them getting into a fight, which turns into what I believe the whole segment was really about. Lacey turning heel.
Yeah, which was funny because Lacey goes heel over a karaoke match.
Right.
Yes.
But that does feel like what happened.
It feels like exactly what happened.
And I thought Lacey was doing pretty good as a face.
I feel like Vince McMahon wrote this.
Right. And again, I think if there's not... Let me ask you this. Do you think that Fox has a quota? You need to have one thing a night that's not really wrestling?
I think so.
It seems like it, doesn't it?
I think Vince has that quote in his head. I don't know if Fox does.
Yeah, the Viking Raiders thing kind of alludes to that maybe a little bit. But they didn't do it this week. It seems like on Raw, on SmackDown, every week, there's something that's just not...
The Gong Show.
Yes, that's next week, I'm sure.
Variety.
Right.
Dick Van Dyke will come out and host a variety show.
Yes, of course.
Laugh in. Here come the judge.
Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares would be great. Who's the guy? Oh.
The dude that was always in the middle?
Oh, he's the voice, the dude. He's on American Dad does the alien's voice, or the alien's voice is a copy of him. Paul Lynde.
Yep. Okay, so then we wound up with the main event of the evening. Your New Day versus your Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro.
We haven't come up with a tag name for them yet, I don't think.
Why would you come up with a tag name for them?
You don't need silly names.
No. Don't need silly names. We don't need no names. Anyway, great match. The ending winds up being wonk. Big E winds up making it a DQ. They don't lose the belts. Shinsuke kicks Kofi upside the head outside the ring, and then they kick Big E upside the head inside the ring, put him on a table, put Kofi on Cesaro's shoulders, and put Kofi through Big E.
They did a thing where, all right, Cesaro's standing in the corner. Shinsuke's right in front of him. He picks up Kofi like he's gonna power bomb him, or does he pick him up like he's gonna do his reverse exploder? Yeah.
Yep.
And then somehow he lands him on Cesaro, who then power bombs him into Big E. It was neat, dude.
And it wasn't wonky.
No, it was quick.
And so now we're gonna jump the gun and assume we're getting a tables match of some kind.
Yes, I would hope so.
And I'm looking forward to that as well. I thought a good week of wrestling.
I thought so too, and I hope, I wish they'd put the belts on Cesaro and Nakamura. I think that'd be a great.
They have to. Well, they have to put the belts on them. It's the New Day's great, but
they're just so done.
Well, they've had the belt.
Yeah,
they've had 10 titles, and this one's going on months. let's do it. Let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And also, why not put it on some heels when there's nobody in the crowd anyway?
Yeah.
And then when the crowds come back, you give them back to the babyface, and boom, you get the pop to go with it.
There you go.
I mean, let's do it. Okay.
Preach it.
For my man, Justin, from EKP, this has been a Go Home Heat production. Copyright 2020. Go home.
Yes, sir.